What up, though, y'all? It's Chris, broadcasting to you from the D. It's a hot 90 plus degree day here in the Motor City, and my truck's AC picked the worst possible time to go out on me, so I'm gonna have to go see about that. But let's talk about this music festival that happened in France. Apparently, they have a music festival. I didn't know about this. Um, but that, whew, it says 371 arrests, six. Um, I'll say that they were attacked with knives. 14 seriously injured. 145 reported syringe attacks. Syringe attacks. Let that sink in. 1,500 plus minor injuries and 51 vehicles torched. So this sounds like a complete and total third world country situation. This was supposed to be a damn music festival. So, man, I don't know what be going on with people, why they choose events like this to pull up to and show they ass. But here we go. I've got a article here that I'm gonna read some of. It says festival needle spiking. 12 people are arrested after 145 people, quote, pricked by syringes, end quote, at International Music Festival. 12 suspects have been detained after 145 people were pricked with syringes at an international musical festival. French police opened an investigation following reports. I don't even know how to pronounce this, dude. I'm gonna try, so give me some grace, y'all. Fete de la Musique. Hey, that let let me know how to pronounce it if y'all know how. I've never heard of this music concert, so give me some grace, please. It was infiltrated by attackers yesterday evening before the party in Paris, which authorities reported as having unprecedented crowds. Posts on social media had called for women to be targeted. So, are they saying that the 145 people that were pricked, they were all women? What's up with that, man? This syringe situation is already very strange as it is, but then they targeted specifically women. People are just strange, man, for no damn reason. Uh, it says the Interior Ministry confirmed today 145 people were reportedly stabbed with needles after millions had taken to the streets to celebrate. Paris police reported 13 cases in the capital. Officials did not say whether these were cases of so-called needle spiking with date rape drugs such as Rofinol or GHB, used by attackers to render victims confused or unconscious and vulnerable to SA. This was a few days ago, y'all. Apparently this happened last weekend. I didn't know about this until now. And so far from the research that I did, I was not able to find any follow-up information of anybody saying that people had any lasting negative effects. Now, this could be in their system and they just didn't get something bad could be in their system. They just didn't get enough of it to have a really negative effect. Or it could be some sort of sleeper thing where it over time creates an issue. Some victims were taken to the hospital for toxicological tests, the ministry said. In Paris, investigations were open after 3 people, including a 15-year-old girl and an 18-year-old male, reportedly being jabbed. We'll just say that. Jabbed with a knife. In separate incidents across Paris, prosecutors said. Man, this is wild. Like, why in the world would you choose to go to this? Or am I answering my own question? You want to create a chaotic situation, and a gigantic summer music festival is exactly where you want to go to do it. because you're going to have a lot of people that are off guard. If you want to create harm, yeah, go somewhere where there's going to be a lot of people and target the women. I mean, that is true. If you want to create a problem, target the women, because women just naturally are more off guard in situations like that. When women are having fun and having a good time, women become so off guard. This isn't me attacking women or throwing shade. As a man, you're always responsible for the people that are with you. So if you've ever been out on a date with a woman, or you're married and you're just out with your family and stuff, you know the wife and daughter, they're just going to have a good time. They're going to throw caution to the wind because your job is to protect them. So they're not worried about their safety and whatnot when they're having a good time, and especially with you there. So women will be easier targets than the men are, because men are typically on guard no matter the situation. Men, even on vacation, we never can rest. We're never lax. We're always on guard. There's varying levels of it, but we're always on guard nonetheless. So, and a follow up. The three, it says all three reported feeling unwell. Across France, 12 suspects have been arrested. Among there were 4 people in the southwestern city of Angoulême. I'm not familiar with the names of these, man. So as I said, forgive me for the pronunciations. I think it's more important to get you guys the information than me possibly fumbling a few pronunciations. They were suspected of having targeted around 50 victims, a police source said. Apart from those suspects, more than 370 people were detained during the festival on various charges, including nearly 90 people in Paris. It sounds to me like this event did not have as much security as it should have been, given the amount of people that came. I'm not saying that it didn't have any, of course it did, but I think they grossly underestimated how many people would show up for this, and they just were not prepared. Naturally, they were not expecting something like this to happen, but when you're trying to secure an event, especially a large public event like this, you have to try to anticipate as best as you possibly can all cases. Now, there's no way that you can come up with, oh, these guys are going to go around with syringes. There's no way that you would fathom something like that. But in the case of preparing for something else possibly dangerous, there are times that when you prepare for something really bad, you kind of cover all bases too, worst case scenario. And it just doesn't seem like they just really were, I don't want to say concerned, but they just really underestimated how messed up people are nowadays. And over there in that part of the world, you know, we always are hearing reports of strange stuff happening. This is by far the most insane that I've heard coming out of Paris, but it's still early, I guess, right? 14 participants in the festival were seriously injured, including a 17-year-old hospitalized after being found sitting on the street with stab wounds to the lower abdomen. 13 members of law enforcement were also injured. The prefect of the Paris police, Laurent Nunez, said that no major incident had been reported. Organizers at the event have been contacted for comment, but it doesn't look like they really have. And here's some details of some things that may have happened. In one particularly shocking video, a man dressed in a blue t-shirt strikes a kick at a woman's head before pulling another male to the ground. Just outright ridiculous behavior, man. Who's doing this stuff? Like, really, who's doing this stuff? I've heard something about Paris having a migrant problem. Now, I know that may sound messed up to go right there, but I'm genuinely asking, is that true? Because being here in America, and people aren't going to like to hear this, but I'm always going to say the uncomfortable part out loud. Here in America, in places where there was an influx of migrants, we saw huge spikes in crime. Huge spikes. I mean, it just is what it is. If you don't like it, do something about it. But I'm not going to ignore facts. In areas where, these sanctuary cities or whatever, when we saw all these migrants coming, being dropped off, there were enormous spikes in crime. Period. It just was. It says the festival is an annual music event celebration that takes place on June 21st. So, okay, that was last weekend. On Music Day, as it is known in English, citizens and residents are urged to play music outside in their neighborhoods or in public spaces and parks. The occasion is now celebrated in 120 countries around the world. Organizer Emmanuel Simo said, over the past 3 years, this type of incident has unfortunately been on the rise in major cities, particularly in Paris, often amplified by viral TikTok challenges. Okay, so that tells us one thing, that this is a thing that they've seen happen before, and they've seen a pattern of it becoming even more of a problem. Yet look how off guard that they was about this. Can you imagine that? That you have something this egregious that's happening and you're seeing a rise in it, but you were this unprepared for it happening at this event. Just total negligence. However, at our event, we take these risks very seriously and have implemented heightened surveillance measures to ensure everyone's safety. I can't tell, because look how this went. You got the internet full of viral videos of people behaving disgustingly. Ahead of the festival, or Verso Festival, we issued preventative messages across our social media channels, sent information by email to attendees, and displayed dedicated signage on site. How'd that work out? Security checks were reinforced at the entrances and patrols were increased throughout the venue to detect and prevent any suspicious behavior. Man, it don't... Basically, what they're describing, and it seems like they're just trying to cover their own ass. They're trying to make it seem like they took every possible major, a major, step, every possible major step to prevent something like this from happening, and it just somehow happened anyway, and we don't know how that's possible. Says this year we had 2 suspected cases out of over 17,000 attendees. That can't be right, because 12 people got arrested for pricking. So, that, and it was probably more than that. That's just who they was able to nail down. After investigation by emergency services, both were proven to be false alarms. While this represents an extremely low incident rate, safety remains an absolute priority for us. We also note that no intervention from law enforcement was required during the event. Man, what are they saying? I mean, really, what are they saying? It just does not sound like they're living in the realm of reality. Like, what they think should have happened is such a contrast from what did happen. The atmosphere remained positive. The audience was respectful and well filtered at entry points. We're proud of the security and welcoming environment we created. Y'all, don't go to stuff like this. That's all I can tell you. Your best protection against stuff like this is to simply not go. Just stop going to stuff like this. These people here, because after a mass atrocity like this happens, you got people that were poked with sharp objects. You got people who were jabbed with syringes. You got cars that were burned. There's probably numerous more SA cases that they're just not reporting on. The reality of what happened and what they're talking about here that they observed there are 2 different events. They're not describing the things that happened. They're making it seem like, oh, we did every possible thing. Everything looked great. Everything was great. We checked people and all that. Then how people getting in there with syringes poking people? People managed to get around and poke over 140 people, man. What are we talking about here? I'm telling y'all, man, stay home. Take it from Unc, who in here sweating like a dog, about to get in here into this gym and get this glorious chest and shoulder workout in. I stopped going to certain things because the possibility for something stupid happening was just too high. If you are in one of these areas that unfortunately became a haven for migrants or whatever, you might not want to go to the events held there. It just is what it is. In many cases, these migrants, and I know this from living here in America, these migrants hate the land that they're living in, even though where they left, they fled because it was such a miserable experience lived there. The place that they're at now, that's better for them overall, they for some reason hate that place and hate the people, and they do stuff like this. So I'm gonna leave it there, man. Y'all be careful out there. Stop going to stuff like this. Really, it's not worth it. I bet you all of them people who were poked with the syringes wish that they would have stayed home, stayed where they was at. I'm gonna leave it there though. Hit me with a like if you like what I do. Hit me with a sub if you like what I do. And hit me in them comments. I'll holler at y'all. Peace.